What's up, guys? How's it going? Glad to have you back here at the Crown One, and I hope you guys had a wonderful Christmas. If you're still celebrating Christmas like myself, still wearing the hat, just not ready to give up Christmas just yet. So let's keep it going. If you guys are enjoying the content, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell for the latest updates and the latest uploads for the latest content. Now, so this is actually something that's been reported on earlier, I want to say about a week and a half ago. And it is, of course, the event following the Game Awards, and it's going to be the Indie Game Awards that was organized by the 6-1 Indie. So, as you guys may have already known, Clair Obscur 33 had been cleaning house for the awards, and I think they won quite a few of the two main titles, which were going to be the debut game and also Game of the Year. However, it seems like due to some AI issues or some alleged AI issues, those awards have been stripped. And that's coming from 6-1 Indie. Now, later on in another article, it was some word that came out that the 6-1 Indie was going to stand on their ground as far as keeping Clair Obscur, and I'm just going to say C33, disqualified from those awards, and it was just because of the AI, the generative AI that was being used. Now here's just a few cliff notes here. So Clair Obscur, Expedition 33 or C33 originally won the Game Awards of the Year and also debut games at the Indie Game Awards 2025, of course, this year. Now, the Indie Game Awards, which is organized by the 6-1 Indie, announced in December 20th, 2025, of course, this year, that both awards were stripped from the game. The reason of the disqualification was because we're talking about the AI, which there was alleged they were using it during development of the game, which violated the award's rules against such use. Now, when submitted for consideration, Sandfall Interactive had represented that no generative AI was used, but was used later, and that was confirmed. So, of course, this is the developers that made the game, C33, which is the Sandfall Interactive, the devs for the game. Now, the awards were reassigned to some run-up titles, and I've never heard of these titles. So one of them's called Sorry We're Closed, and that was for the debut game. The Game of the Year went to Blueprints, and I think that's like a choice-based game. It looks like a mystery because I checked it out on Steam, and I saw some of the guys that were live streaming it, and it looks like a mystery type game. I don't know, and help me out here. Maybe I've never played Clue before. Or any of those other mystery solving games. I think I played one. No. I played Life, but never any mystery board games. But I think that's what it functioned. Blueprints seems, in my opinion, it kind of functions close to that type of genre. They ended up taking, they went from runner up to Game of the Year due to disqualification of Sandfall's Interactive C33. Now, I've never played C33 before. I've seen some of the gameplay, and from what I understand and what I've also seen in the gameplay is that it's a turn-based RPG. And I like RPGs. I like the whole fantasy stuff. I don't really get into Final Fantasy. I played it a couple times when I was a kid, but I didn't get into it that much. My best friend, who's heavily into PlayStation 1 version of Final Fantasy 7, and I mean heavy, he's into that. Now, this particular game, C33, is turn-based. And again, this is my own personal opinion. I'm not knocking anybody who likes to play turn-based RPGs. I like RPGs. I don't, however, favor turn-based. And that's just my own opinion. I have a military background, so I like military shooter type games. Call of Duty. Man, what a shame. Anyways, like my military-based shooter games like Battlefield 6, of course, some of the earlier versions of Call of Duty, like 2009 Call of Duty, man, it was a Thunderdome in those chat rooms, and other types of games like that. So I don't really get with, the turn-based, but I like the RPGs. So the Indie Game Awards organization stated that it has a hard stance on the use of Gen AI in games eligible for awards. The decision came after the awards ceremony was recorded, but before public broadcasting, so you see a bit of a buffer where that decision to strip C33 of the awards before they went to broadcasting. And the organization thanked the community for the feedback. Now, I'm still a little leery about what that community feedback was, because there were some people on Reddit channels, and I'm not, I don't know any usernames to be calling out. Even if I did, I still wouldn't. But within the subdomain of Reddit, it seems that people felt like C33 should have not won the game of the year for 2025. But it was another game. It was, I think it's called Kingdom Come Deliverance. I haven't played that game, but a lot of people thought that was a better RPG than C33. I haven't played either games. I've only seen gameplay for one. That was the C33. I haven't seen any gameplay for Kingdom Come. But some people had their feelings about it. Now, I've heard nothing but positive stuff for C33 as far as the gamers are concerned. Like people who just game for the game, not in so much into particular ideologues or anything like that, but they just like the game itself. Now, as far as Kingdom Come, again, I saw like maybe a few seconds of gameplay, maybe a couple minutes, few seconds to a couple minutes of gameplay. I won't play it. I mean, I won't even play C33 again because of the whole turn-based thing. I like to kind of play games through. I don't really like the turn-based thing, but my opinion, I still think it has some great visuals. I saw the gameplay and it was pretty slick with some of those graphics. And it's just sad to see that they're being accused of using Gen AI within their development. Now, I know that other games that were nominated for some of the game awards, and that was Silksong. I've seen gameplay for Silksong, and I thought that was some awesome stuff, man. And it turns out that they were using a Gen AI for their rivers, like the bodies of water. Again, I don't know if that was in development or if that was in production. Now, my take on that is if the devs are using AI for like proof of concept or during testing, I see no issue with that. As long as they go on the back end prior to production and start developing the code for the games before they start, hitting the shelves. Again, that's my own personal opinion. I'm not against AI, and I won't say that I'm so much for AI. I think of AI as a tool, and if you guys have seen it in my earlier videos, that's how I consider AI. AI is nothing but a tool. But for me, my own personal opinion, I think that it would be, I think it's kind of a disservice if you're starting to use AI as the product. Again, I really have to stress this, man. This is my opinion, because some people have some really strong emotions, unwarranted in my honest opinion. But as it pertains to using different types of technologies to push the product forward, I don't have a problem with that as long as it's built, as long as it's when it's in production, then it's organic, something that a person has designed with them from their own mind or hands or what have you. Of course, you need a mind to design with your hands, but you know where I'm getting at. But when it's in development, when you're just testing out theories and stuff like that, theories and concepts, you're testing out in a development environment, I have nothing against that. Now, if you're just doing something like content or something like that, not everybody is an artist, and not everybody has the funds, the price points to meet the needs to pay for artists. Some people want to get out content, but it seems like they're being accused of being, sloppy, the term AI slop. And I don't entirely agree with that assertion. I've been accused of using AI slop, and I used it a couple of years ago for one of my thumbnails to do a thumbnail design. It was a bunch of robots and some kids. If you want to dig through my archives and try to find it, it was about Helldivers doing a charity work. I use AI for my cover. I use a couple AIs for my covers because I'm not an artist. I don't know how to draw. I've tried drawing, a couple times, and it's just bad. Like I'm gonna need some remedial type experience before I can even get to learning how to draw actual characters. So I say that in defense of people who they don't have that skill set. And with the onset of AI, I know it's kind of pushing some artists, further to the edge as far as getting work. Now, I like artists. Let's be clear about that. I think they're pretty cool. They bring things to life, especially with me developing my own universe. I'm not going to be using AI for production. I may use AI for proof of concept, which is a huge difference. And I find that completely okay. That's not going to be in my final print, of course, but it's something I want to get inside my head and how I want my characters, the environment, the universe, the Wonderverse to look like. But when it comes down to it, I would me personally, again, I would prefer to use an artist. So I think that I think it's important for us to kind of learn the difference between somebody trying to use AI as a tool versus somebody trying to use AI as the main body. And I don't know what the case was for Sandfall as far as it says in development. So I don't know if it was something that was pushed out final product, but it says in development. So for them to be disqualified for something like that, if it's just for the test environment, I don't find that to be warranted. If they're using it within the game and they're using it for design and stuff like that, they might need a talking to. But again, like I said, as far as the article is concerned, it says in development. And that's kind of what we have to go on until we dig deeper or some new information is revealed. But I hope that people can kind of decipher between the two when it comes to talent and ability. When you see people using AI, are they using it to replace something, or is it to supplement a skill that might be lacking? Like myself, I lack art skills, I lack illustration skills, so I will use AI to help bolster that act. But make no mistake, I'm not like the whole concept of AI artist. I mean, that would have to be well defined because people trying to use AI say, oh, this is art, I'm going to use it in my animations. Like, oh, okay, do your thing, man. But expect what happens next. So I really hope that something can be done as far as C33 getting the reward stripped. I really hope there's more to the story than just being in the development environment and then 6-1 Indy just like shutting it all down. I wonder how hard of a stance that is and whether or not they, how it's brought to their attention, because there are some people, like I said, who felt like C33 didn't deserve it, and maybe it was more or less some sort of being vindictive. I won't get too far into conspiracy theories, but it's just something to consider. But that's all I got for you guys, and I hope you guys are enjoying the content. Gonna be rolling out some more stuff here. Looks like this might be my last one for the year, so I want to wish you guys, I hope you guys had a wonderful Christmas. Hope you have a safe and happy and family-filled or friendly-filled Happy New Year 2026. Here we come, and I'll talk to you guys later.